From the 12 on Your Side safety team, bullying in the classroom.
Tonight we are tackling the tough topic of bullying in the classroom. Many of you reaching out to 12 on Your Side with your concerns.
We want to hear from you. Franklin White has been combing through your comments. He joins us now. Franklin, what are people saying?
Well, as you can imagine, Rachel and Kurt, folks didn't hold back their thoughts and disdain on bullying. In fact, here are just 3 social media comments I found. In response to the Amelia teen who died by suicide, Katie on Facebook said, "The fact that administration and teachers knew about the writing on the walls and left it up and did nothing about it the day it was written is absolutely disgusting. Praying for John's family and close friends." Tamara had this to say, "Hope all the bullies live with this the rest of their life. When they get older, they will have to live with the memories of them making a young man take his life because they constantly bullied him." And finally, Austin on Facebook said, "As someone that was bullied growing up, it's something you just don't ever get over or forget." Others also asking the question, why are kids not being expelled for bullying? Back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Franklin, and we're going to try to get a lot of answers on that. And we want to bring in Larry Pope now. He is the Executive Director of WOE Behavioral Health. And, you know, thank you so much for being here tonight. This is so important.
Well, thanks for having me.
One question I have to ask is about parents being culpable, not knowing that they're making things worse, that they're exacerbating the situation, because so often kids are told, you know what, your teenage years are the best years of your life. Right. But for a lot of kids,
it's not. It's not. And I think it's very important as parents, right, to have that conversation and just get to know our kids. And a lot of times, once I heard about this, I did ask my boys. I have a 15 and a 9-year-old, and I said, "Hey, are you being bullied? Does bullying happen in your school?" And they said, "No, Dad, not really." And I'm like, "Well, are you the bully?" Right? So asking those questions, I think just having that dialogue with your kids, because we can stop this from happening. We just have to all be involved.
Does it start at home? Because I know it goes to school and then people blame the school administrators, but does it also start at home, having conversations
100%.
About what is happening?
100%. Having that open dialogue with your kids. And like I said, just asking, hey, is bullying happening? Are you the bully? Are you witnessing bullying? And what are you doing about it? Are you telling anyone? Are you seeing something and saying something?
Are you stepping in to help?
Are you stepping in to help? Because that's the thing. We can stop this if we all get involved. And we just don't point the fingers and do more of this, right? Hugging each other and getting around each other saying, how do we stop this from happening? Right?
Well, how do you counsel a child who feels victimized by this? I mean, when you sit down with the kids themselves, what they might tell a therapist and what they might tell their parents could be 2 totally different things.
That's correct, and that's why I say community, right? It takes all of us, because what they will tell a therapist may be different from what they would tell their parent or a friend, right? And then if you're that friend that heard about what's going on, then you need to take the step and talk to the parent and say, hey, this is what's happening, so we all can get involved.
That was the case with John and Amelia. Just 4 months before his suicide, he told a friend, "I feel like I want to take my life." And he actually posted something that hinted to that, and one of the friends told somebody, actually called authorities, and the sheriff's department showed up at their door. And he was sent to Tucker Pavilion to get some therapy. So what they tell mom and dad and what they tell friends and what they tell therapists,
it's
totally different.
Totally different story, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Rich, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what if you're a parent, you get a call from school saying that your child was mean, bullied somebody else? That's hard to take as a parent,
100%.
and you go, no, my child would never do that. But you need to still have the conversations with your kids to find out what's going on.
And also mediate, right? Like, because no one wants to hear that their kid is getting bullied, and I'm sure no one wants to be the one that's saying your kid is bullying someone. So having those 2 parties come together and say, hey, this is not going to happen, we're not going to stand for this, I think that's what we need to do as a community, to stick together to make sure it doesn't happen.
What do we need to get teachers on board with in terms of recognizing what's going on? Because there were several people that came out at that school board meeting in Amelia County that said, you know, the teachers, they have some responsibility in this.
Again, I keep going back to community, right? Because teachers are a part of the community. And again, teachers have a hard job, don't get me wrong, right? They're handling teaching, they're trying to be counselors in the classroom, they're trying to manage the classroom. But when someone's telling you someone is being bullied, I think that requires your full attention, especially not waiting until something like this happens, being proactive and bringing the parent in and being that mediator for the kids and those parents.
Do we need to talk about, as a society, suicide more? Because oftentimes we don't report on it on the news usually. When it happens, you might say, I don't want my child to know what happened, but Do we need to have conversations about what can happen? So we know the resources that are out there, 988, the numbers to call.
Correct.
That you're not alone. Is it, we don't hide in the shadows?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a conversation, because the more we know and the more, once we see how serious it is, right, and we see this really can't happen, I think we really need to have those conversations with each other to make sure that nobody's feeling like it's a taboo topic, because that's what happens, right? You suffer in silence. But when you can talk to someone and understand that nobody's going to look at you a certain way for feeling like you want to take your life and having those thoughts and feel like, okay, I'm going to have my community wrap around me, you'll feel more comfortable speaking about it.
And as a parent, sometimes maybe the gut reaction to finding out that your child is being bullied is, put me in the same room with this bully's parents. But often, school
right.
administrators will tell
They
you,
can't do that.
You can't
that's
do
not
that.
the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not the right approach, right? Like, again, I get the anger, because you're protecting your cubs, right? So at the end of the day, but we have to talk. We have to. That's why I said, stop doing this and do more of this, more hugging, getting next to each other, talking to each other, and that'll solve the problem. Because as long as you're pointing the finger, right, nobody's listening. Everybody's trying to take blame and defend blame, right? But as long as you do this, where you're hugging and you're talking about it, now we can wrap around the whole situation and make sure it doesn't happen.
All right, thanks so much for that insight.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Larry Pope,
appreciate you coming out.
Whoa
Thank you.
Behavioral Health. So thank you so much for your time. We'll be back right after this.